so that you can get a recording at the end of the mock test. Okay, so just so you know, I'm going to record it. So we're going to do our mock test. What I'm going to do is go all the way through the mock test, and after it, I'll take some notes, and after the mock test, we can have a discussion about any mistakes that you're making and any things you can work on. All right, so before I start your mock test, I want to know a couple of things. First of all, what is the band score you need to get in your test?
I need to get around band 7.
All right, band 7. And when do you plan to take your test?
I'm planning to take my test on the 19th January.
All right, on 19th of January. Have you ever had a test before?
I never had a test before.
All right, so it'll be the first time. So do you have any questions you want to ask me before I start your mock test?
I think no. You can start now.
Okay, so let's begin now. We'll start with part 1. You want answers of about 3 sentences on average. Let's start off by talking about what you do. Do you work or are you studying?
I'm currently an international student in Red Bank Catholic High School in New Jersey, State of America, and I'm about to apply to University of California in Los Angeles for biology major.
All right. So what do you like most about your studies?
I go to kind of relationship with the international culture. I would particularly like to learn about the new culture, the new people, and I would like to create a large network with another people around the world. And special, I want to learn biology in a very amazing country such as America.
All right. Is there anything challenging about your studies?
At first, I kind of struggle with the languages because I'm a kind of shy person, and first time I came here, I would not to talk with anyone or even eat. And then, sorry, I cannot talk. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I have a meeting. Bye.
All right. Would you like to study anything else in the future?
So I go to major biology, but actually I have alternating major is below, which is I forgot the name of the major, but as for below is called political science.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Let's move on now and talk about weekends and what you like to do at the weekend. What do you usually do on weekends?
I had passion with piano and I've been playing it for 5 years. And I usually play piano during weekend to practice a lot of new songs to play for my mom because she would love to hear me playing piano. Also, I always play some song of Beethoven, and then I also play some song the pop song, and then sing during it.
All right. Did you do anything special last weekend?
So last weekend, even it's still in the middle of pandemic, but I went to the cinema with my friend because I feel like that place would be the perfect place to connect my relationship with my new friend or either contribute more because I feel like I found a lot of topic to talk with my friend in cinema. There was one time I went to the cinema to a movie theater with my friend for a 2-hour movie, but we actually spent 2 days to talk about that movie.
Mm. All right. What will you do next weekend?
Next weekend, I'm planning to stay the whole day in my room for studying because the midterm is coming up. There was 7 subjects for me to study, which is really awful.
All right. What do other people in your country usually do on weekends?
The Vietnamese people during weekend, they would hang out with friends or either family. They would go to the restaurant to eat seafood, which is a really traditional thing in Vietnam. And then they would, especially for teenager, they would hang out at the bubble tea store to drink bubble tea.
All right. Let's now talk about text messages and instant messages. How often do you send messages?
I send messages every day since I would study abroad, so I send messages for my parents every single day. And even with my friends, because some of my friends still stuck in their country because of Corona, so their border haven't opened yet. And then I use Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram to text them. Sometimes we also use WhatsApp to call, and then Vibe to have a better connection, video call.
All right, thank you. Do you prefer sending or receiving messages?
It depends on the moment though. Like there was sometime I would study and I would not answer anyone messages or either a call or neither call. But there was sometime I was really bored and I would love to receive a lot of messages and respond from my friend or my mom. I usually, if they didn't send me anything, I would call them directly after that.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. Have you ever received a confusing text message?
Yes, there was one time, particular last 2 weeks, I received a messenger from a Facebook group chat for international, and then that person texts me, "Hi, I'm currently working for a company. In a university of somewhere. I forgot the place, but it was like I would love to work with you." And it was like, "Ma'am, I only a junior high school."
Mm-hmm. All right. In what circumstances is making a phone call better than sending a text message?
I I would say that it's better make a call for emergency situation. Like if I get any injury from doing sport or dance, I would call my staff to ask them to take me to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Or I would say that my friend, some people like their parent cannot contact with them, they would call me to ask if they okay.
All right, thank you. All right, that's the end of part 1 of the test. We're going to move on to part 2 now. What I'm going to do is paste a topic into Skype. So just one moment while I'm doing that, and then I'm going to tell you the topic, and then I'm going to give you some time to prepare your answer. All right.
Sure.
So I just pasted it into the messaging area of Skype. So just go into the messaging area, and when you can see that topic, please let me know.
Yes.
All right. Do you see that topic now?
Yes.
All right. So it says describe an intelligent person you know. So think about someone you know who's intelligent and prepare some notes. All right. So now I'll give you a minute to prepare your answer.
Yes. Could I start now?
Just take 1 minute to prepare your topic.
Yes.
Do you have a pen and paper? You could make some notes.
Yes, I can make a note on my computer.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, I'll give you some time now. All right, can you start speaking now, please?
Yes. So the intelligent person that I know is my best friend, who named Jessie, and she's from Mexico. I met her last year, and she was my roommate. We have there was one time that we spent like the whole entire night to talk about each other, and then we found out that we have the same habit, the same personality, and even we have the same background, family background too. And it was so surprising. And then she was one time I found out that she was really a hardworking person. She would stay up for a whole night to do her homework and project after traveling. It is really a rough time for her, but she's still done it really well. And she even speaks fluency in 3 languages, which is French, English, and Spanish. She's also get into the high honor every single quarter.
You've still got some more time. Maybe you could describe some of the things the person does that shows you she's intelligent.
Yes. She's a person that really interesting in computer. Even she's just in sophomore year, but she could code and then design a website really fluency, like, and then she got in 5 AP classes, which is really hard, and I don't even get one of them.
All right, thank you. Do you know a lot of intelligent people?
Yes, for me, everyone around me is intelligent people, like not only in academic field, but they really talented and intelligent in art field, sciences, in business, and then they even really smart in the way they think and the way they talk too, the way they have a communicate and then conversation with the other people.
All right. Do you think you are a smart person?
I would say I'm not a smart person, but I would know how to communicate well with the other person that would not make that person distressed or something. And I say no because I'm not doing well at school. I don't have a good education background, and I don't have a good performance in the transcript for application of college too, but I'm doing well in curriculum activity.
All right, thank you. Let's talk more about intelligent people. Do you think intelligent people are usually happy?
I would say yes, because intelligent people would have the different thing, the different way of thinking, so they would manage their time well, and they would do everything really fast without pressure time, and then they will finish it with the perfectly way, with the perfection, and they would have more they would and then because of that they would have more time to talk with other people. And then for some of the intelligent people I know, they would, if they struggle with something, they would ask for help, and they would not shy or scared or afraid to ask people for help, and by that way they would have no stress.
All right. Do you think intelligent people are usually richer than other people?
I would say yes, because intelligent people, as I say, that they have the different way of thinking, so they would make a lot of different, which is a most important thing to create a good business, and then develop the thing that they work into, and they would finish something that they does. For most of my friends that I know, and I consider them as intelligent people, all of them would finish all of their work really perfectly without any error. even it's just a small thing such as school project.
All right. Why do you think some children are smarter than others?
Actually, I would not say that. I think another student smarter than another because they are smarter in different view, and we cannot perceive that view that because we will not know them well. They will have their own intelligent side that we cannot see through.
All right. Well, what sort of things might influence how intelligent a person is?
Could you clarify the question again for me?
What sort of things might make a person smarter than others? What could influence how smart a person is?
This is an interesting question. Please give me a moment. So I would say that an intelligent person would have the time managed well and would have a good way to think of other people. They would not jealous or have a competitive thinking with other people, which is really intelligent which is really smart to create a well network with other people.
Do you think a person's parents or do you think a person's genes will influence how intelligent they are?
Actually, based on the science field, it would be a part to impact the knowledge. Their brain that make them an intelligent person, but it actually based on what they receive during education time.
Do you think technology is influencing people's intelligence?
Yes, because for some people, they were easy to find the answer on the internet, and then for me, all of the things that I learned is also from internet. Even at school, for sometimes the teacher would not get a good lesson from me, and I would research it on internet and study it by myself.
All right. Do you think we can measure a person's intelligence?
To measure them, I would say not really. Because to measure an intelligent person is like no limit to say.
What about IQ tests? Do you think they could be accurate?
For the IQ set, according to a website that I have done research for ARC class at school, I found out that actually some of the knowledge tests, just as IQ stuff, they just and even emotional tests, they just a part of the knowledge. I can see there's like 70%, but most of them is based on how they talk in life, and we only know if we communicate with them directly.
All right. What about artificial intelligence? Do you think machines will ever be smarter than people?
I would say no, because people invent machine, and then by that fact, machine only have the limit knowledge of human have, and then human will invent more invention day by day, and they will receive more knowledge over time. But with the machine, they only receive the data that humans set on them, so they would not have the larger knowledge than a human.
All right, thank you. That's the end of your test. And what I want to do now is just give you some feedback to help you. I just want to point out some things that I noticed, some maybe mistakes, and also give you some suggestions on things that you can work on to get your score higher. Okay, so I'm going to go through the 4 grading criteria. Do you know about the 4 grading criteria?
Yes.
All right. Yes.
Nothing.
Okay, you're welcome to ask questions at any time. So okay, so the first criteria we've got is the fluency and coherence. I think you're highly fluent. I think you can probably get to 8 in this area. So then in terms of the weaknesses, part 2 was a little short. I think you spoke for about 1 minute, and you're given 2 minutes. For an 8, you need to be speaking for at least 1.5 minutes. So you need to be a bit longer. So what can you do? You could practice speaking for 2 minutes. You can practice the planning to make sure you've got enough ideas to talk about, right? So yeah, I'll give you a link to current topics, and that's what I think you can do. So practice the planning, practice speaking for 2 minutes, and then I don't think you'll have any problems there. Okay, so a little bit short, but otherwise the fluency is great, the speaking speed, and you do have long answers, like in part 1 and 3, the length of the answers is really good. So the only real weakness was that part 2 answer, right? And sometimes you've just got to practice it a bit. It can seem a bit unnatural having to do those long turns like that. Okay, so that's the strongest one. Weakest, I think, is the pronunciation, and you don't have a lot of problems. It's kind of really it's the same problem on the whole. You're not always pronouncing the final syllables of words. So if we take something like science, you're not getting the s at the end. So I hear science, and maybe you're saying this, but too softly. So you might be like science, but I can't hear it. So you just need to say that more clearly. So let's try a few words. So I'll tell you the words that I noticed that weren't pronounced accurately, and then your job later is to practice these so you can reduce these errors. Okay, so we got science. Yeah. You say it after me. Science.
Science.
Yeah, so that's at the end. Since.
Since.
Yeah. Text.
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 So there's a t at the end. Text.
Text.
Yeah, that's right. It might seem a little unnatural too, but if you keep practicing it, it's going to get better. Performance.
Performance.
Yeah. When you say people, sometimes it's right, but sometimes you're getting a B sound in the second syllable, so it's coming out like people instead of people. So just try people.
People.
Yeah, so just people. It's just practice it. So you might just like have a bad habit of mispronouncing that, and then you just got to practice it regularly and replace the bad habit with a new good habit. All right. And then at the there's 2 more. Style.
Style.
Yep, that's good. And machine.
Machine.
Yeah, it's not. Again, machine.
Machine.
It's the sh, so it's a sh sound in there. Machine.
Machine.
Yeah, that's good. So you just need to practice these. So what I tell people to do, I'll give you a list of these words. Practice them maybe like 9 times, sort of like 3 sets of 3. So like machine, 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 and then do that 3 times. Machine, machine, machine. So you do it like 9 times. And then you've got to practice it regularly, every day if you can, but at least a few times a week. You've got to train your brain, right? Or we can even say retrain your brain, because you've already been saying these words many times, but you've got to train your brain to say them accurately. All right, so you understand about that?
Yes.
So it's good enough for 7, but not 8. You won't be able to get to 8 while you're not saying the ends of these words because sometimes it causes a bit of difficulty for the listener.
Yes.
Okay, vocabulary and grammar. What do I think? I think they're probably sevens. I think with the vocabulary, I'm almost always telling people that are new to the IELTS, it's a language test, and you might have a great vocabulary, but you have to show it to me. You have to show the examiner. So language test, show me more language. And then I get people to work on a few things to increase their vocabulary. One, you can upgrade some words. So a word like, instead of I like ice cream, you can say I'm a big fan of ice cream. I'm really fond of ice cream. So you just upgrade a word like.
Yes.
Another suggestion. Yeah.
I've been practiced that, but I was too shy and shaking that I forgot all of these things. I learned about a lot of new words about like I'm interested to. I like particular, and then I'm a big fan of, and then have a crush on something like that.
So that's exactly what I want to see, but you've got to show it to me. So this can be sometimes a problem. You have the vocabulary, but when under the test situation, you didn't show it. So practice it. So practice it and practice a small amount of vocabulary. What people do wrong is they try and learn hundreds or thousands of words and it just doesn't come out in the test. So you want a narrow range of vocabulary that you practice using over and over so it comes out naturally and comfortably in the test, right? So like, for instance, there's a new topic about trees. So I would tell people you want to learn the name of one or two trees, maybe like pine trees, oak trees. What you don't want to do is learn 10 or 20 names of trees. Why? Because it's a waste of time. You don't need to talk about so many kinds of trees. So just the name of two trees would be enough. Go on to the next topic. All right, so you can do some work on the vocabulary, right? It doesn't mean you don't have a good vocabulary. It just means you need to show more. Grammar, there are a few noticeable errors in the grammar, and I'm going to put them in the written feedback, and I want you to go through those. I'll try and tell you a couple now, but it can be hard. It's easier in the writing. But okay, so one thing that you're sometimes doing is using the word would when you just want present simple tense, right? So
Yeah.
I'll just try and give you some examples. It could be hard to find. They would go. So let me see question 4. Let me just wait a minute. I think it's about. It's about what people do at the weekend in your country, and you're using would. You're telling me they would go to restaurants. It should be just they go to restaurants. They like to go to restaurants, not they would go to restaurants. Would suggests that they don't. Like they would go to restaurants, but now we have the COVID restrictions, so they can't.
Oh.
Right. So you want to work on that. I'll give you a few instances of that. Sometimes you need S's on the ends of your nouns, like their parent should be their parents, because mother and father too. You said I wanted. So the person you talked about is a person who named Jesse, is named Jesse. And later they are reading something. So yeah, you needed are, and then they are reading. So sometimes you need that like auxiliary verb, is or are. Okay, so I think I'm going to put these grammatical errors into the written feedback. Right, so you can see those, and then the idea is to review them a few times so that you can reduce errors, right? It's okay to make some mistakes. I think you could reduce them. I think you've got too many errors for 8. You can probably get to 7, but there's a lot of errors. You need to decrease them, or you might go down to 6 even. So a lot of errors, reduce the errors. So if I just summarize everything quickly for you, I think the fluency is great. I think you should be able to get to 8 there. Pronunciation needs work. It's a low 7 at the moment because of the word endings. So you must work on those. Vocabulary is probably good enough. Just make sure you show me good enough for 7, let's say. And then grammar, you really got to work on it. There's a lot of errors. I've written down a lot of errors. So go through those and just learn from those. All right, now, would you like to ask me any questions?
While I'm taking a test, can I chewing gum to reduce stress?
On the whole, I don't suggest it, and the examiner might not allow it. I have had one student that I said, okay, yeah, do it, because he was extremely nervous. So if you think you're going to be extremely nervous, you can try it, but the examiner may well tell you to stop, and they might be annoyed. They might sort of think, how dare you come into the test room chewing gum? It might create a bad sort of start, bad first impression. So I would say really try to avoid that. Right? And work on some techniques to be less nervous. One of the best ways to be less nervous is to be well prepared. Right? We feel nervous when we fear things. When we fear, we're not well enough prepared. When we're afraid of something might happen. Wow, what if this happened? What if I get a horrible part 2 question? Right? We feel anxiety about these sort of things. So you can reduce your anxiety by being well prepared, by knowing that you're well prepared. Another way you can reduce anxiety is to think of the consequences, the possible consequences of your test. It's not life or death, right? It's not if you don't pass the test, you've got to go back to Vietnam. I mean, it could be in some situations, but it's probably not in your situation. So think about the consequences and think about the fact that if you don't get the score you need, you can probably take another test, right? You don't want to take another test, but it's not really that bad, is it? So just think about the consequences. It doesn't usually matter too much, but especially be well prepared. If you're well prepared, I'll give you a link of current questions. If you're well prepared, you're not going to feel so nervous, right? You can practice a lot on your own. You can just practice answering some of the questions. And then everybody's nervous and the examiner understands this. Yeah, so that's a good question, and just work on it. You could do the gum thing, but I on the whole, I don't recommend it. I think it's much better not to, and unless you really got like uncontrollable nerves, your hands are shaking, and it's the only solution, then do it. But otherwise, don't do it. Yeah, I don't think you're so nervous that you need to do that, right? Did you have any other questions you would like to ask me?
Not really.
All right. What I'm going to do soon is I'm going to type up some feedback for you, but I'm probably going to send it about an hour later. All right. You'll find there'll be a recording go into our group chat, and you'll have the recording very soon. But I need to send the feedback later. Did you have something else you wanted to ask?
Yes. So if I keep repeating a word, is it bad, right?
Yes. It's not great. I tell people that if you need time to think or to hesitate, it's better to do that silently. What's not good to do is to repeat a word like the, or restart the sentence. That's not great. Silent hesitations are better than voiced ones. Yeah, it's easier for the listener. All right, it was great talking to you today. Good luck with your studies. If you want to do another test later, you can let me know. That's fine. All right, have a great night over there, right?
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay.
You too.
All right,
bye.
bye. Have a great night. Bye bye.
Have a great day.